Welcome to The Explainer. We hear about the AI revolution constantly, but what if the key isn't just about code and software? What if it's about stuff, physical things? Today, we're going to break down a really cool framework that looks at AI through that lens, based on a market analysis from late 2025. Yeah, this quote just nails it, right? In 2023, it felt like AI was these brains in jars, chatbots living in the cloud. But now we're talking about embodied AI, intelligence that we can actually see, that we can interact with in the real world. And that's the central theme for today. AI is getting a body. It's not just stuck in some server farm anymore. We're talking about the robots in our warehouses, the self-driving cars on our streets. That's embodied AI. Okay, so how do you even begin to map out all the companies building this new physical AI world? It's a lot. To make sense of it all, we really need a mental model. So let's dive into this framework. All right, we're going to start at the very bottom of what we're calling the AI pyramid. Think of this as the picks and shovels of the AI gold rush. These are the absolute, non-negotiable building blocks that pretty much everyone needs. Now, what's really interesting here at these first two layers is that it's all about physical monopolies. I mean, literally owning the dirt and owning the factories. You've got companies that control the supply of rare earth materials, and then you have the giants who actually make the chips, like TSMC, and the memory for those chips, like SK Hynix. And to put that into perspective, just look at this number, over 90%. That means almost every single advanced AI brain on this planet, it's born in a TSMC factory. That is an insane choke point on the entire industry. But here's the thing. You can have the most powerful chips in the world, but they're basically just expensive rocks without electricity. And this is turning into the single biggest bottleneck in the entire pyramid. These AI and data centers, they consume as much power as small cities. It's a massive strain on the grid. So who's solving this power crisis? Well, you've got companies that are the ultimate picks and shovels play. I'm talking about grid equipment makers like Hyundai Electric. They're sold out of transformers until 2029. And power generators like Constellation Energy with their nuclear plants. They're providing the raw power that everyone, and I mean everyone, needs. Okay, let's move up the pyramid. We've got the foundation sorted. Now let's see how this hardware gets turned into an AI brain, from the cloud all the way to the apps we use. Right, so in these layers, the moat, the competitive advantage, it shifts. It's not about physical manufacturing anymore. It's about data and algorithms. Take Palantir. Their AI is basically becoming the standard operating system for huge industries. Or look at AdTech. A company like AppLovin just has a better AI for targeting ads. It's all about the software now. And this chart, wow, it just brilliantly illustrates the insane demand for computing power. 355% year-over-year growth. Specialized players like Nubius are exploding because they can offer GPU access right now. And that's a huge deal when the big guys have massive wait lists. Okay, now we get to the really cool part, the top of the pyramid. This is where all that digital intelligence we've been talking about finally gets its physical body. This is where all the hype is, for sure. But it's also where stuff is actually happening in the real world. I'm not talking about science fiction. Symbotics robots are already working right now at scale for Walmart. And you've got Tesla, which has totally shifted its narrative to being a robotics company, and Qualcomm, who's winning the fight to put the AI brain inside our cars. But what's the missing piece for true level 4 self-driving? Where the car really drives itself. Well, for that to happen, the car needs to see more than just objects. It needs to see velocity, instantly. And that brings us to this really unique piece of tech. It's called 4D FMCW LiDAR. Now, normal LiDAR just sees a bunch of dots, right? A static picture. This stuff, it sees movement. It can tell you not just that there's an object, but how fast it's moving. It could be the absolute game changer for autonomy. So here's the crucial point. A company like this is a total moonshot. It's a binary bet. It's all or nothing. If their tech gets adopted, the potential upside is huge. But if it doesn't, it could go to zero. It's that simple. Okay, so we've climbed the pyramid, from the dirt all the way up to the robots. Now for the big question. How does this actually translate into an investment strategy? One of the first things you notice is this fear discount. There's a massive valuation gap between US tech and Chinese tech. You see these crazy high PE ratios in the US, where companies are basically priced for perfection. But in China, it's the opposite. They're priced for disaster. And that could be a huge opportunity if things aren't as bad as the market thinks. So one way to think about it is this 50-50 hybrid strategy. You'd have half your capital in the core monopolies, the bedrock, the stuff that's there to compound and preserve your wealth. And the other half goes into aggressive beta, the high-growth moonshots. So let's look at basket A, your core. These are the companies with what you might call unbreachable moats. They're fundamental to the whole ecosystem. We're talking about TSMC, the only maker of 2nm chips, and SK Hynix, a leader in HBM4 memory. They're essential. Then you have basket B, your aggressive plays. This is where you target that insane hyper-growth, like we saw with Nebius. Or you make a contrarian bet on a company like Symbotic, one that the market might have punished, but still has really strong underlying tech. Look, this framework, it's not going to give you all the answers, but what it does is it gives you a map. And what you should really take away from this is a new way to see the AI revolution. It's not just some kind of magic happening in the cloud. It's a physical supply chain, one you can actually understand and analyze. So the final question is, the pyramid is built. Where are you going to place your bet? On the bedrock foundation or on the soaring peak?